Hello, and it's a blessed morning to you. Welcome to Sacred Heart Yoga, your prayers said aloud in the privacy of your own home. Your heartfelt concerns spoken aloud to God, and God will listen. I just begin the prayers in the Sacred Heart Yoga, tell you the body position, kind of all from a book. And then it is your walk with God. It is your prayers. It is your concerns that will make it meaningful, not what I do. So we'll begin with my prayer. Beloved God, I thank you for this wonderful, wonderful method of praying aloud our heartfelt concerns, each of us healing our bodies while our prayers heal our minds, our spirits, and our souls. I thank the generations that have brought this to us, from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, Father Joseph, and Virginia Ellen, who finally wrote a book called Sacred Heart Yoga, so anybody could practice this ancient method of prayer any way they want, anytime they want. So I thank all of them. Amen. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we'll begin with the Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. Beloved God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to your love, O God. And I allow myself to be purified of fear, as I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and your love, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I can share with my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. In oneness with your love, O God. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now we're going to try to clear our minds. It's called clear our energy fields of fears. Fear will prevent our ability to love. So we just want to clear them out. Daily distractions, things we've got to do this day, things we've got to get done. And so here we do it with a arm motion. We put our arm right up at the 12 o'clock position up above our heads, right arm, and let it go over to the 3 o'clock position to the right side, our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position, then back up to the 12 o'clock position above our heads. As we do this, repeat after me this prayer. Beloved God, I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, your light, O God. Om. Now, the rest of the prayers, I'll just begin them. I'll I'll say, and here our prayers begin with. That means you repeat after me the beginning of it, but finish it with your own heartfelt concerns. The first one is we ask God, how may we serve you this day? And we take our right hands over our hearts and ask it. The answer never comes to me in more than one or two words or a really heartfelt feeling. Sometimes nothing at all, but during the prayers, I just incorporate whatever I get and I finally understand the words or the heartfelt feeling, or I'll finally understand something else. But I always get something from God, some sort of wisdom, some sort of love, some sort of nurturing, something, healing, but I always get something. So here we take our right hands over our hearts and our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up. Announce out loud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall, palms forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you this day is to Om. Now we're going to sing aloud the word Amen 3 times. Any tune that's right for you, any pitch that's comfortable to you. That's saying the word Amen 3 times aloud is how an oath was sealed between two people or a person and God in Aramaic, in Jesus's tongue. So here we go. Amen. 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 Now we're going to sit back down on the mats, lay down on our backs, and get into what's called resting position, which is our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. Here we begin by pulling our right knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we take our right foot in our left hand, pull it over to our left thigh, let our right knee fall down to the mat, and our right arm gets extended straight above our heads, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we switch hands, taking our right foot in our right hand, holding it down near our pelvis. Our left arm gets extended straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens, holding it there with our right hand. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we take our right foot out to the right side of our bodies, down to the mat. Our arms get extended straight out to the sides, down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we turn our heads to the right. Our right foot goes up towards the heavens and then over to the left side of our bodies, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for
Om. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, arms at our sides. And we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. Here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our left foot in our right hand, let our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm gets stretched straight above our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our left foot in our left hand, hold it down near our pelvis. Our right arm gets stretched straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our left foot, pointed up towards the heavens, holding it there with our left hand. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for. Om. Now we let our left foot fall down to the left side of our bodies, opening our pelvis as wide as we can, extending our leg out. And our arms get extended straight out from our chest down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for. Om. Now we turn our heads to the left and we take our left foot, point it up towards the heavens and take it over to the right side of our bodies, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, legs outstretched. And this time we're going to, for a second time, try to surrender our fears to God. And we do this by, we're going to surrender them into God's love that's always there, that we're trying to learn to serve God's love. So here we take our hands under our sit bones, lean forward on our elbows, try to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I choose to Om. Now we lay back down on our mats. And this time we reach for the heavens with our left hand. And we let it fall over to the right side of our bodies. Take our left hand, or our right, okay, that was our left hand up towards the heavens, over to the right side. Our right hand goes halfway between our left elbow, left shoulder, stretching it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I choose to Om. Now we reach for the heavens with our right hand, let it fall over to the left side of our bodies. Take our left hand halfway between our right elbow, right shoulder, stretch it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, in service to your love, I can. Om. Now we go down to resting position, arms at our sides, legs outstretched. And we pull both feet up to our pelvis. And we let our knees fall out to the outside, down to the mat. And this forms a triangle below our bodies, and we consider a triangle a tabernacle or a house of God in Sacred Heart Yoga. We form a second tabernacle over our hearts by putting our hands over our hearts in prayer position, extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, we find God's beautiful chalice overflowing with anything we could ever desire, want, or need to use in service to God's love and spreading it to all humanity. If we use these gifts for our own monetary gain, our own edification, our own glorification, we'll lose them. That's just the bottom line. You don't get to hang on to them if you don't use them to spread, share God's love through humanity. So here our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down in prayer position right at the tops of our heads, down to the mat. This forms a tabernacle over our entire bodies, so our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your love healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we start the anointing series, which is 4 prayers, and we repeat them twice because they're so important. And the whole while, during all 4 prayers, we keep our hands in prayer position. We begin, and these prayers are about our gifts from God, thanking God for them and giving credit to God. So here we begin by putting our thumbs up to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips and our prayers begin with, God, I bless and I will only use them in service to sharing your love, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position over our hearts and our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of. Om. Now we do a motion with our hands. We take and point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend them out, our arms straight above our pelvis at the 3 o'clock position, like the arms of a clock. We move them counterclockwise up towards the heavens at the 12 o'clock position, and then down to the mat at the 9 o'clock position over our heads. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of. Om. Now we start the second set of 4 prayers. Thumbs back to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to sharing your love with humanity, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position, and our prayers begin with God, I thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we take and point our fingers into our abdomens, extend them out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we go back to resting position, and we cross our right ankle over our left ankle, our right wrist over our left wrist, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with God, I thank you for always protecting me and keeping me safe. Om. Now we roll over on our sides and push ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. Here we extend our right leg straight out in front of us. We take our left foot across our right knee, and we hold our left knee with our right arm. Left arm goes behind our backs for support as we twist our heads, our shoulders, our backs to the left. And here our prayers begin with God, through your love, I desire to Om. Now we switch legs. Our left leg goes straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes across our left knee. We hold our right knee up to our chest with our left hand. Our right arm goes behind our backs for support as we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the right. And here our prayers begin with God, in service to sharing your love, I will
Om. Now we get up on our knees. Put our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for. Om. Now we form a tabernacle out of our hands by putting the tips of our thumbs together, the tips of our first fingers together. And we put this tabernacle down on our mats. And we lean over in child's pose and put our foreheads into this tabernacle. And here we just take a moment and feel God's love all around us. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time we extend our right leg out to the right side of our bodies. We take our left foot up and pull it up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in service to sharing your love with all humanity, I will become. Om. Now we take our left hand foot out to the left side of our bodies. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in service to sharing your love with all humanity, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. We put our hands on our knees, our thumbs touching our middle two fingers, and that creates tabernacles with our hands. And we keep our back straight and bow forward at our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to your love, O God, for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall, and we bow forward a second time, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to you, O God, my true Father, my true Mother, the One, the Oneness. Om. Now, sitting straight and tall once again, we feel where we're grounded down to the mat on the left side and right side of our pelvis. On the left side of our pelvis, we feel God's wonderful white light of love, of nurturing, of healing, filling our bodies, filling our legs. This white light fills our legs to the tips of our toes. It fills our abdomens and every cell and every organ. This white light comes up through our hearts, fills our hearts, and our hearts act like beacons of sharing God's love with all humanity. God's white light comes up into our lungs, and with each new breath, we take in more of God's love, God's white light. Now, God's white light fills our arms to the tips of our fingers. It comes up our throats and into our minds, filling our minds with the peace that God gives us. And now it goes out the tops of our heads in this wide, ever-expanding beam of light. And it keeps expanding out, and it goes around and circles the whole world. And this white light rains down God's love on every single living creature there is. Now we go feel the blue light right on the right side of our pelvis, entering our bodies. It's the blue light of God's truth, God's wisdom, God's knowledge, God's gift of discernment to us. This blue light fills our legs to the tips of our toes. It comes up and fills our abdomens, every cell and every organ. It comes up into our hearts. And with every heartbeat, we get more of God's truth. It comes up into our lungs, and with every breath, we inhale more of God's truth. It goes up into our arms, to the tips of our fingers, into our throats, and into our minds, giving us what we need to know each day. Now it goes out, the blue light of God's truth goes out the tops of our heads like a wide, ever-expanding beam of light, and it wraps around the whole earth, and God's blue light of truth rains down on every single living creature for them to choose or so or not. So now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want. But the one thing we should always ask before leaving is, God, what do I need to know this day?